Hello, my name is Godwin, and in the last video, I introduced Python briefly. In this very video, we shall be getting started with Python. We shall be getting started with the basics of Python. Now we look at indentation, Python indentation. What is indentation? When we talk about indentation, we are referring to the spaces at the beginning of a line of code. The space at the beginning of a line of code. In other programming language, you may find out that indentation in code is used for readability. But in Python, indentation is quite important. In Python, indentation is used to indicate a block of code. Now, enough with those without explanation. Let us go into Jupyter Notebook and see how this works. Let's write a block of code. If 8 is greater than 6. Now, let's give space. The number of space depends on you. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 4. So I'll just use 2, pressing my space bar 2 times. So I said if 8 is greater than 2, print. Bracket, then remember your quotes. 8 is greater than 6. Okay, let's run this block of code. So what I was saying, if 8 is greater than 6, now the next line, you can see that there is indentation. So this shows that both are a block of code. We run this block of code. We click run. Cell line number 3, line 1. Okay, I can see an error. This error expected colon. So already I'm having an error. This is just how programming happens in real world. A little mistake will bring out an error. So I did not insert the colon here. There should be a colon. If 8 is greater than 6, there should be a colon there. And then let's run it again. So you can see that what just happened is just how programming happens in real life. It hardly goes ever smoothly. Everything you write is being run and you are always right. Sometimes you forgot to insert a comma, a colon in this case. So having inserted a colon, you can see the block of code has run. 8 is greater than 6. So 8 is actually greater than 6. If not, it will not print this. Now, print will give you an error if you skip the indentation. Now, let's write this block of code without the indentation. If 8 is greater than 6, remember your colon. Let's not insert any indentation. Print. It is greater than 6. Okay, we can also press Shift Enter to run the block of code. You can see there's an error. Indentation error. Expect an indented block after if statements on line 1. So if we correct this, even with a space, it's greater. So you can see the indentation is very important in Python. As long as it is a block of code, you have to use indentation. The number of spaces is up to you, but it has to be at least 1. In this very line of code, I used 2 spaces, this 1, although it should be consistent as a programmer. You have to use the same number of spaces in the block of code. Otherwise, Python will give you an error. Let's run another block of code. If 8 is greater than 6, or colon. Now, let's give 1, 2 spaces and then print. Okay, now let's continue again. 2, 4, this time around 4. Print, done. Now in this line there are 2 spaces, in this one there are 4, but in one block of code. Let's run it. You can see error, indentation error, unexpected indent. Now let's do this again. Let's copy this, let's place it here and then correct it. Now the number of spaces must be the same, so this and this are now the same. 8 is greater than 6, done. So you have to use the same number of spaces in the same block of code, otherwise Python will give you an error. Let's now look briefly at Python variables. In Python, variables are created when you assign a value to it. Let's say x is equal to 8 and y is let's assign a string to it, aim up, and let's print x, print x. Now let's run it. X is 8. Let's print y, print, or let's include it now, print let's also print y together with x, print y. We run it. X is 8, y is aim up. So with the equal sign we assign variables in Python. So we just assign a value to a variable. Comments, let's briefly look at comments. Comment starts with the hash sign, or the number sign as some people call it. The number sign or the hash. This is the hash. So whenever I want to write a comment in Python, you use the number sign or the hash. When you insert the hash, whatever line you put there or sentence you put there will not be executed. It will simply be treated as a comment. It will not be run. It will not be run like your normal code, like we've been doing in these previous blocks of code. So when you put the hash sign and then you type a sentence, it will be regarded as a comment. It will not be run. Let's say this is a comment, and then here let us print them up. Okay, let's run it. Here in this former block you can see we printed x, we printed y. X is 8, y is aim up. Now let's see whether it will print this, because this is also included in this line. This is a comment, then print aim up. We run it, shift enter, aim up. This is ignored because this is a comment. Comments are not run. So that's a brief look at getting started with Python, getting started with the basics in Python. I hope I've made it quite simple, clear, and easy to understand. In the next video, we shall continue having a look at the basics of Python.